Yeah, so two more bits. Bianca Belair has now signed to William Morris Endeavor Agency. So I had the story. Well, they're the biggest agency in the world. I had the story before.
Yeah, getting her acting jobs.
Yeah, so
commercials.
Essentially, The Rock's with them. The Rock got William Morris to sign Becky. William Morris came in and negotiated Becky's last contract. It's funny this week on Raw, like Seth Rollins was saying to Riddle, like, "Oh, you're hanging around my bus, dude. It ain't your bus. Your wife got you that bus. You didn't have the bus before you started dating her. She got the bus, and now you and your kid go in the bus. Like, no, like that.
You just cut Riddle's promo for him." They're doing a shoot angle. Like that's a good promo that you shoot. That Riddle should.
So is Becky considered a bigger star than Seth?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh
no,
yeah.
She is.
In every, I didn't know. Yeah. Every metric will prove, like TV ratings, merchandise sales, popularity, social media, like.
Because, bro, I think Seth has been on mega fire.
But that's this. But she covers all the other metrics of people that don't. Yeah. Like if you're channel surfing and you see Becky Lynch and she's hot and she's talking, it's like, bro, the women, the over women draw more than the men except for Roman. Is that accurate, Billy?
No.
No. Okay.
But who do you consider to be over?
Women.
Yeah.
Or okay, Becky.
Sasha.
Becky, Sasha,
Charlotte,
Bianca,
Ronda.
I'm just because here's the thing.
Charlotte's never been on a list that I've been sent, and Sasha's in and out of that top 10 on the quarterlies. Like she's pretty decent. Like
okay, give us.
I think Lily the doll is more over than
who are the top? Yeah. Give us a quarter. Who are the top 10? Like when WWE looks at their metrics. Who are the top draws?
There's a quarterly report, so like it changes, but it also can involve. I mean, as I said, like I explained this once on Russo show when Bray Wyatt just got really really hot. So it's like there's a revenue list, and then there's a list per item kind of list where in terms of
social media popular.
No. In terms of merchandising, like when I'm talking about merchandising specifically, so there was a time where Bray Wyatt was selling ridiculous metrics of around about 30 items that he had available, and then obviously Roman Reigns at the babyface at the time was top of the tree because he had over 250 merchandising items, and through the sale of more and more of that, he was top because the revenue is going to be higher. But revenue is different to looking at the amount of product that you have and how much those units are selling. Bray Wyatt was destroying Roman Reigns in units per item, but Roman Reigns was winning across the board because he had the most stuff. I mean, sometimes you can be producing the most revenue, but it might not even be profitable. Like they might have been. Per
example, you can go shop like the Gap can sell, just tons of items at $30 or $40, but Burberry can sell like higher end items and stuff at a decent rate. And like you look at the metrics, and like, okay, who sold more? Like is it that like that type of like way to look at it?
Well, I mean, it's just a case of like, look, like the guys knew they're testing the waters out with that break with the Fiend character at the time. He had 5-6 things out, then he had 20 things out, and everything was just selling like ridiculous, like massive numbers. Roman Reigns was doing steady like across the board, nowhere near like Cena numbers, but he had 200 bits out, and nothing was setting the world on fire. And what I'm saying is, once you're the top star, like once there's so much mass production of products, there was T-shirts that were being reduced to $7 or $8 after about a month because they just weren't moving when he was a face. He's doing better now. But like no one can compare to the numbers that the Fiend did when he was there, and then also now that Roman's a heel, now he's back up there again, but still like under Cena, and then in between that, sandwiched between the Fiend and Roman, we had Becky, and I don't know this for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I know for sure if you take Becky and Alexa together, just those two, they 100% have outsold every single female on the roster put together. Just those two. It may even be Becky by herself, but I can't. That's not fact if I say that. But I know for a fact if you.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe they find them the hottest. Maybe they find. Maybe they gravitate towards them the most in terms of being. I don't know. Like Alexa has some weird.
I want to Konnan
weird fans, like real weird fans.
Konnan, why do you think that is?
What? That they sell so well?
Like Becky and Alexa are like way above the food chain on compared to the other girls.
Well, I think one thing is Becky probably cuts the best promos out of any woman there, and that's very important. You're not used to women cutting good promos, and she had that gimmick of "I'm the man" and all that, and she was very.
She resonates. She resonates. Right.
Yeah, and especially with the young females, because as you saw yesterday, you said it yourself. The females match had like a really high 18-34, right? Remember the main event?
Yeah.
Even though I don't think it should have been the main event should have been Jay and Sammy.
Raw, we're talking about, by the way.
Yeah, Raw. And Alexa, cute girl, and I think that Lily thing really put her over the top. And for a while, she was they had her in a hot thing with the Fiend at the beginning. So those are the only things I can think of.
Let me ask you a question. When you hear that, are you looking like you're booking to Mexico and stuff, everything like? How do the fans here, because they're more old school fans, a lot of them, not a lot of them, but there's a strong percentage of the metric that thinks it's real and they buy into the suspension of disbelief, something. How do the Mexican fans like look towards the female performers? Do the female performers do well on the metrics or in Mexico? They do.
Yeah, because
so
because two things that the female performers do that you and me have always put over. Number one, they all dress like stars, most of them. Number two, they ain't afraid to show some of their sexiness. And number three, they got mega hot IG pics.
Right.
And so when your fan base is mostly guys, and you're seeing hot chicks and G-strings, you're going to be attracted to that.
Who has done well?
Well, you saw when Scarlett went down there how well she did, and they didn't even know who she was.
Right.
So if you're hot,
she broke records on social media.
Right. Like if you're hot and you can go, that's it. That's why if you look at the women now and you compare them to 10 years ago, like just about every woman on our show has a pretty good physique, or is sexy because that sells. Yeah. But they also got to know how to wrestle because if you don't, they will drag you. That's one thing.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you get tapes and stuff, everything, you're looking at girls sending you. You probably look at a lot of female girls sending stuff.
Right.
So obviously you're more interested. It's like, okay, this girl's hot. I want to see if she can work.
Right.
And I'm sure you have a standard okay, this girl's works good enough.
And if you're very hot and you can't work, that's better as if you can work and you're not that hot.
Obviously,
that's just the way it is.
If you're very hot and you can't work, are you still saying
Well,
you bring this girl in like a valet because
I'll use her as a valet, and while she's a valet, if she wants to wrestle, I have a squad of guys that they're the guys that are revolutionizing wrestling right now in Mexico, and I send her to train with them. And then I'll call every week and I'll go, how's she doing? Is she coming to training? Do you think she has potential? And I just gauge them like that.
Do you have some girls right now you think are getting near?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So
the main thing that I'm trying to find, which is hard to find, is there are no, and you wouldn't believe this coming from Mexico, there are no high flying Mexican girls. Zero.
Right.
So I want to bring the first one or two out, and I'm training him right now.
That's funny too. If you think about when you're a booker, it's you're always looking for a hot girl that can work.
Right.
It's I got one because now I can throw it on TV and we're good.
Or if you find a very good looking guy that's got a good physique, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Right. And I know you're attracted to a lot of good looking guys.
100%.
Billy, what else you got?
Sorry, I've got a text. So I just want to so obviously just to get back on what the point of that story was, it's just an interesting process because The Rock is with that agency. He recommended Becky Lynch. Obviously that agency have got eyes on Becky, what Becky Lynch is doing because she's their client, and suddenly she's working Bianca and Bianca gets signed. So you could think that Becky had a part in that. So it's just an interesting process. That's all. I just wonder what they'll do with Bianca, whether they come in and negotiate her next contract, which is up in a couple of years. So yeah, it's just It'd be interesting to see what direction she goes in, whether she'll become part-time or whatnot, and whether she does get any roles. I mean, this contract's supposed to be for her book and a potential podcast and looking at movie roles and all kinds of stuff.